What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, I host Epic Conversations for fathers and dads that are co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. You know, I always get excited when I bring new friends onto the platform. Well, this gentleman's not a new friend anymore, but a few weeks ago, he was a new friend. And we had a little bit of a technical challenge in regards to the audio when he came on for the first time on the Dr. Vibe Show, which is the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations. So I said, you know what, Donovan McKenzie, we need you back for many reasons. One, you are outstanding. And second of all, the audio wasn't good. And I want to be able to showcase my friends in the best way possible, video and audio wise. So let me give you a little background on Donovan. Donovan McKenzie is a community mental health advocate in Toronto with a special interest in men's issues. He has spent years helping people to challenge ideas about what it means to be a man. He has turned his pain into purpose. He has and will continue to rewrite the narrative for what it means to be a man struggling with mental health, and Heart of a Man is here to help others do the same. His experience with depression and PTSD has made him passionate about ending the stigma by sharing his story in a vulnerable and creative way. He challenges listeners to shift perspectives and develop the courage to reach out for help. He's founded Heart of a Man to offer an alternative and organization in making an impact. His organization, or the organization, is making an impact in the Toronto community, and it's going to be global. So let's welcome back Mr. Donovan McKenzie. How is your day going today?
Stressed, blessed, but I'm doing okay, man. Pushing through.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you back to share. And I know there's some people who don't know anything about you. So if you could just share, I gave a little bio about yourself. If you could just share some of your story and your journey with our audience.
My journey and my story is a very long story. It's going to be a big book one day. It's going to be like a dictionary, because it's been a long battle. Like, you know, I always start off by saying, you know, I look like the man that has it together, you know, strong, physically fit, but I've been broken for quite some time. And I had now developed the courage through God, through my mother, through listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes, to share the battles I've faced with depression, PTSD. I've been suffering from anxiety, even a word that I don't like saying, suicidal ideation, for quite some time as a man. And that started when I was in my teens, when I thought I was Mr. Superstar basketball player. But what happens is that you use those type of medicines to overcome certain things. And I was taught that real men were not expected to talk about their feelings. So I had to be tough, strong, fearless, and confident, right? But like many men, you know, Donovan, you know, I had to eventually come to terms with my feelings. But the thing about it is, throughout my life, my facade fell apart when my doctor told me I was depressed. And that was when I was 21 years old. I was a young man. And that word depression was like, I didn't know really what it meant. Like, what the hell does that really mean, depression? I was born in Jamaica. That's like saying I'm demonic. It's not. You know, and I had to eventually, throughout years of the suffering, years of the tears, years of the staying in bed, staying alone, just feeling like I'm broken and lost, and getting my medicine with just going out and hanging out with women. I had to accept it. But now that I got the help, I'm here to share my story. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story in a way that you could understand that you're not alone. I'll just backtrack a little bit too. I lost my mother and my grandmother to cancer. And I'm not sure if anyone's listening to this right now that's lost your loved one of cancer, but I know what that does to the heart and the mind and the soul. It could break you. And that's a part of why the doctors diagnosed me with also post-traumatic stress disorder. And my depression really increased throughout that time. I couldn't really figure out what was really going on in my heart, but I had the strength to finally do it. I'm here now, and what I want to say is knowledge is power, because I couldn't accept what depression was before, but now I can, because number one, when you've decided to see a therapist, when you decided to go out there and just listen to different things about depression, about anxiety, about PTSD as a Black man, your eyes open up. Now, I could have done two things. I could have just rejected it and say, whatever. This is not what my father told me. This is not what my mother told me when I was younger. This is just them telling me. But I chose to accept it, not reject it. And that's why I'm still alive, I believe, right now, because when you have these thoughts of losing your loved ones, of being depressed and being broken, it hurts a lot. And there's one thing I want to say to a lot of men out there too. If you grow up and you hear a lot of negative voices in your head, or just people disrespecting you and saying these mean things to you, those are seeds that could be planted too, that when you're my age in your 30s could become something toxic like depression, and that can make you angry. That can make you feel lost and broken and alone. And that's what's happened to me. And thinking Mr. Basketball was going to make it to the NBA, I thought that was going to be my medicine, but it wasn't. And for years upon years, I felt like just giving up and staying in my bed. But I'll tell you right now, if I didn't, my mother told me something before she died of cancer. She said, I said, Mom, what do you want me to do? You want me to be a basketball player? Do you want me to just become very successful? She said, no, my son, I just want you to come to heaven, and I want you to live. I want you to come to heaven. I want you to live, and I want you to just be you. And those words right there planted a seed in my mind. And that's why I'm doing this now. And that's why I call it Heart of a Man, because it's like my heart was broken and lost and destroyed, but it's like I had to rebuild it through the help with God and therapists, and having, being on the show to share my story. This is my therapy right here, to be able to share and open up. And a lot of men are suffering the way I suffered, but they can't talk about it because it's rejected, especially in the Black community. And I'm not trying to knock my community. I'm just saying, if you're not taught something, you're not going to know what to do, and you will reject it. And it will feel like, you're not going to feel like accepting it, because knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is a very powerful thing. I don't know who believes that there, but I believe it because I've read about it. I've understood it. And you look at different leaders in the world and how much knowledge they had. When we gain that knowledge, we'll be able to go get the help we need. We'll be able to say, I'm suffering from depression. I'm suffering from PTSD. We'll be able to speak to the therapist to get that stuff in our mind. Because right now, I'll tell you, even today is a tough day for me too. And here I am. And that's why I call it Heart of a Man, because my heart's been feeling heavy all day. And because I learned how to deal with this and cope with it, I can share that openly now. I could come and say, you know what? I'm not alone anymore. I know a lot of men are out there. So being on the show is a beautiful thing, to be able to share this story right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, next week, I got to go see a therapist. Then the other week, I got to go see my therapist, right? And my heart needs to heal more and more and more. And I want men to know that their heart could heal also too. And like I said, there's going to be those voices in your head, the negative voice and the positive voice. The negative voice is going to tell you, something's wrong with you, but you don't need no help. The positive voice is going to say, go get the help. There is something wrong with you. You have to defeat that negative voice, because it's still in my mind right now as a man, right? And that's why I created Heart of a Man. The thing about it is, because there's been so much stress, I haven't been doing my men's group, but I've done my men's group. And after I do a men's group, men would share what's on their heart and share that positive voice, share that negative voice, and we'll be able to connect with one another. And that's what's been the beautiful thing about Heart of a Man for me. And that's why I'm still here. And that's why this is a pleasure to be able to let the Black brothers and everyone know you're not alone. You are not alone. I'm on this journey with you. My depression is still here sometimes. I can't front, but I'm still pushing through it. I'm still going. I'm still getting the help I need. And I'm actually being able to speak about it. And that word vulnerability, you got to be vulnerable, man. I say it loud and clear. You got to be vulnerable. It took me, I had to understand what that word meant. And now I understand Vulnerability doesn't mean you're weak. It means that you can open up and just share what's going on and get the help you need. It's a lot of courage. There's a brother that I have in my men's group that says vulnerable and courageous, vulnerageous. And that's a beautiful thing that's been happening in my life. Learn how to be vulnerable and courageous.
Okay. That's fantastic. I want to cycle back a little bit. You said you had spent some time growing up in Jamaica. Am I correct?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I didn't even talk about my Jamaica. Yes, Jamaica. That's where I was born.
Okay.
That's how I was born.
So tell us about your life in Jamaica. Were you challenged with depression while you were living in Jamaica?
I was challenged with depression when I was a little boy. I know that because I remember how my heart would always feel this. I felt this heaviness from a little boy. I know a lot of men might feel that, but they can't understand it. But yeah, since I was living in Jamaica, I knew I was struggling with depression because when you're being made fun of and being called monkey face and different things like that, those seeds are planted in your mind, right? So even in Jamaica, that's when it started, but it was rejected in Jamaica too, because that's not something that's accepted. Like depression means you're a demon. You have to just pray for it and get it out. Release the demon in the name of Jesus. And I'm going to say, I believe in God, but we need to just really encourage each other we need to really speak positive words and encourage each other to get the help also. But Jamaica was really tough for me. Yeah, I went to Jamaica last December and it still was difficult because now I'm very vocal about this. And when you're vocal about something that's not accepted, it will be rejected. And you might feel that rejection, but self-acceptance is a beautiful thing too.
Those times in Jamaica where you were being made fun of, how did you handle it? And how did your mother help you handle it if she was equipped to help you handle it?
My mother didn't really equip me to handle it. The way she would equip me she would spoil me, give me a hug, give me a kiss, and say, I love you, my son. But she didn't know a lot about it. And if your parents don't know nothing about depression and how to help your kids, how can it really teach you? So my mother didn't know a lot about that stuff. So the way she did it was just by spoiling me. And that's not really spoiling a little young man growing up with that is not a medicine to heal. It's nice. It feels good, but my mother wasn't there. In fact, I have a story when my mother took me to the doctor when I was 21, and he said, your son is suffering from depression. She said to my aunt, my son does not have depression. No way. I'm not taking him to go get no help from no therapist or no clinician on them thing there. She wanted me to just pray.
So let me just interrupt, Donovan. So this is while you're still in Jamaica?
This is when I just left Jamaica.
Okay.
This is when I left Jamaica.
Okay, so I don't want to get there yet. I still want to focus on your time in Jamaica. So, because I'm of Jamaican heritage, and I know that people can be rough on you if you're not a certain type of individual.
Absolutely.
So I feel you. I feel you 150%.
Yeah.
So I want people to get an insight, because it's not just here in North America that you're, lack of word, ostracized when you have a mental health challenge. And believe me, I can tell it's even more challenging in a place like Jamaica.
It is. Absolutely. It's challenging when you, like I said, if you're not taught something, you don't know what it is, you're going to reject it, right? You're going to just reject it and say, you know what? You're just a duppy or a demon, right? You're soft if you talk about that stuff. You think you could just cry as a man in Jamaica, you can't just cry in front of your friends, right? You can't do that.
Because if you do that, you're going to get beat up.
You're going to get beat up, or you're going to get made fun of, or you're going to call different. I'm not going to say the names.
No, I know where you're coming from.
Right? So it's tough, because what if you're dealing with that as a man in Jamaica, right? And you want to really get the help you need. What do? You know? You ask yourself that, what do I do? I feel depressed, you know? I feel down, but I can't talk to none of my friends about this because they're gonna say I'm weak. And that hurts, man. And that's why I started trying to understand more about life and heart of a man, to spread that awareness and that knowledge that I'm learning myself.
So Donovan, let me ask another conversation piece. Why did the family leave from Jamaica? And did you have a hope that you may be able to not have to deal with the teasing, the being made fun of from when leaving Jamaica and coming to Canada?
You have to understand, though, I want to just be clear. I left Jamaica when I was 6, but I kept on going back year after year.
Okay.
Okay. So when I came to Canada, though, it's like almost I looked up and at first I saw the McDonald's sign. I was like, whoa, that looks so nice and pretty. Whoa, this is a nice looking place. I thought I was in a dreamland, but I wasn't in a dreamland, because here it is too. When I remember grade 3 and grade 4, when a girl saw me, she said, I'm so black. Another black woman said that to me. You're so black. All I could see is your white teeth. I'm like, huh? Why would you say that to me? Oh, you look like a monkey. They said that back in the day, back in slavery days. Yeah. So it's carried on.
Yeah.
Well, we're supposed to help each other, right? But no, I was getting that back then. And when you were dealing with depression, those words get implanted in your mind could destroy you even more. They don't encourage you. It's not a joke to say, yo, you look at your ears, you look like a monkey, you look like a this, you look like a that. I know it seems funny and it's not in the moment, but when those words get planted in your mind and go in your heart, that could destroy you. When you're called those names as a young boy, you know, that could in your manhood, you can remember that. You know what I'm saying? And I remember being called those things, even to this age, you know? And they wonder why a lot of us are angry, why we do the things we do. Sometimes it's because what was said to us, even in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, we remember that and it gets us angry. That's what leads us to like post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, that could even bring on our anxiety too.
So Donovan, let me interrupt here. Are you saying that the earlier years of your journey still at times have an impact on you today?
100%.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guarantee you right now, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you remember someone calling you a name when you're a little boy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You still remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Exactly. Some people maybe can.
Well, let me interject. Anyone that called me a bad name,
yeah,
I have to be totally open. I beat the heck out of them. And to be totally funny on top of that, the last time someone called me the N-word,
yeah,
was back in grade 5. It's grade 6. It was the day of the Christmas party. I beat the heck out of. He was a school bully. I beat the heck out of him, and I've never been called that since.
That's a blessing for you, brother.
So, and don't, yeah, maybe once I've been called as an adult, but not to the extent of that. I addressed it, and what's even funnier is he got in trouble. I didn't get any trouble.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking right there. Because a lot of racism, I was called the N-word, if I could say it like that.
Yep.
Many times. The last time I was called the N-word, I think I was when I was 31, but I still got, my son was called the N-word too last year. So mine's kept on spiraling. It was going and going. I kept on hearing that.
Yes. So how much of, man, share with us if you can, how much of an impact even that, the racism, added on to depression as a young man?
Well, that's such a really good word. How does racism? Because if you think about it, words, like I said, there's a book I read called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, right? The book describes when we're treated as slaves and the words that were said to us and how little we feel about ourselves and being completely destroyed because of that. We bring that on to the next generation. We bring it on to our kids. We bring it on to our, you know, we just keep on bringing it on. It spirals over and over and over. with racism for myself, that made me feel like I was the scum of the earth. Like, oh, I'm not better than you. So I'd go around white people, and I could tell you subconsciously, I wouldn't say it out loud, but I would always feel like, oh, shoot, man. You know, I'm just a monkey face, dark brother. That brought me into deeper depression. That brought me to deeper depression. You know, I cried the other day because I saw a father saying his son went to school and someone said something to him, and his son was taking an eraser and trying to rub his skin really hard. He says, son, why are you rubbing your skin so hard? Because I just want to remove this black off my skin so I could fit in. Stuff like that causes, like, that's what our mental health gets affected by that so much. I didn't really know that until I started reading and learning, right? But when you're called those names, man, and you just feel that could bring you some depression, right? And if you call that name amongst each other too, that could break you too. Those names are devastating, man. Hey, Donovan, you're an N. You're so black. You're an N. What? But you scratch the back of your head when you're alone, like, they look at me like that for real? And then you watch 12 Slaves, Roots. You watch those movies, you're like, whoa, this is how I'm looked at? What do you think it does to your heart? Dr. Vibe, that stuff breaks your heart.
Not only your mind, but also your heart.
Yeah.
It's a breakdown. It's a
breakdown.
It slowly but surely just breaks you down, and it's a hard place to U-turn. You're going to a hard place for you to make a U-turn.
It's you need the help after, and a lot of young black men need to get help seeing a therapist, especially when.
So do tell us, and you mentioned a few minutes ago about your reaction when you were told you should see a therapist, your mother's your reaction, your mother's reaction, and the first time you went to see a therapist.
My reaction, okay, first of all, my reaction was I laughed at him. This white man telling me that I'm depressed. I was like, even though I felt depressed, I just didn't know it was actually depression. I just felt sad all the time, and like my heart was heavy. He's like, Donovan, you were depressed, and I want you to take these pills, and I need you to see a therapist. And my mom, she didn't tell me this though. He told her, you need to take your son to a clinic. It's this clinic in Scarborough. I forgot the name. It's like CAMH. And my mom went to talk to my aunt, who was a nurse, and said, there's no way I could take my son. There's nothing wrong with my son. They're lying to him. You know, she didn't say those exact words. They're lying to him. But I felt like, oh, nothing's wrong with me then, Mom. He's just talking BS. He's not telling me the truth. Because my mom didn't believe it. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do? I'm going to listen to my mom.
Right.
And stuff like that. That's what actually I think I do live with some. There's some bitterness and some regret in my heart too. I feel like angry a little bit, but God has given me the strength to forgive. Because if I did get help back then, I don't know where I'd be right now. I might have been a psych. Probably call me Dr. McKenzie right now. Mm-hmm. Because I wouldn't be doing the crazy ass things I did when I was in my 20s. Because when I found out I was depressed, I was like, okay, I got to get more girls. I got to go to the club like every night then. And that was my medicine. I was like, okay, I didn't see a therapist. First time I saw a therapist, it was the week after my mom died is the first time I seen a therapist. But the first time I took an antidepressant was when he gave it to me. He gave me 2 pills. I took the pill, boom, and I hid the pill and said, I ain't taking this again.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we're fed that. We're fed that, you know, that stuff is just not good for you. I lie them I tell, and I'm speaking my Jamaican patois right now because this is what I hear sometimes. I lie them I tell, that stuff is not good. I'm 38 years old now, man. I still deal with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sure. There's different forms of depression. There's situational depression. Definitely a situation can happen in your life that causes you depressed, but it's clinical depression, which something could be planting you as a young boy. And I believe I was like a young little boy dealing with this, you know, bringing it to manhood, you know what I'm saying? And keeping it in my heart. And it was just poison, man. My mother, I was pissed at her for that for a long time, man. Rest in peace now, Mom, but I was angry at you, straight up. We need to tell. I want mothers to know. I want anyone watching this right now. If you're a mother and you have a child and you feel like he's depressed, he's sitting down, not doing nothing, you need to just say, "Let me take you to a doctor." If the doctor says, your doctor, therapist says your son is depressed, your daughter's depressed, just open your heart, open your mind, pray about it, and just follow what they say, because it could lead you to changing their life and making a difference in a great way.
In your 20s, when this challenge became more and more prevalent in your daily existing, what did you try to do to buffer it? And then what was the moment that said, you know what, I've got to go see a therapist? Was there a specific moment when you said, you know what, D, I got to pick myself up and go to a therapist?
It wasn't in my 20s I did that. In my 20s, I was wilding out. From 21 to 20, from 21 to 30, I wanted, let me actually, I'm going to backtrack. I wanted to see a therapist.
Yeah.
But the stigma of me seeing a therapist was like, I'm a madman. I don't want to be looked at as a madman.
So what was blocking that? What was the blocker?
What my mom said, the words I've heard. If you hear that you don't have to see a therapist as a young man, you're going to tell yourself that, right? And being laughed at if you share with friends. Yo, my doctor said I'm depressed. Yo, stop this. You're a madman. Just come on and go to the club with us and get some girls. Stop the foolishness. My friend yesterday, when I was hanging with him, said, they called me Pritz back in the day. Pritz, we knew you were depressed because you're laying in your basement you're laying in your basement, laying down all sad. But I went to the club instead. But it wasn't until I was 30 that I said, let me get the help now. I didn't want to get the help because I didn't want to be embarrassed.
When was the moment that you said it's time to get the help?
30 years. It was February 2010.
Do you remember the moment?
My mother died.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
I felt confused.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt I wanted to die with her. Like I wanted to go with her. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do something to go die with her. I'm not going to say the words, but that's one of those thoughts. Like I can't live without my mother in my life. I feel so broken. Right. So that's when I decided maybe I should need to see a therapist. And I did for the first time. It was scary though, but I felt it changed my life, man. Mm-hmm. Being able to talk about everything. And he listened. He told me some things. I was like, wow, for real, this was going on with me. I did cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right. CBT.
Right? CBT. I did DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. You know what I'm saying? I started to just learn and read and understand what depression was, what anxiety was, what PTSD was, all these symptoms that I had. You know, I was able to share what was going on inside of me. Mm-hmm. As a brother, I can't just share with friends. You know what I'm saying? We gotta listen. We were listening to things that were poisoning our minds. So I couldn't really talk to my friends about things. They'd be like, huh? The heck you talking about? And I'm going to share something with you too that happened to me that I've been thinking about a lot. When you start getting the help and you start getting your knowledge reservoirs full, sometimes you lose a lot of friends because you're not going to be the same person anymore. Right? Some people are going to be in your life and you know you guys hear it all the time for a reason, for a season, and very few sometimes for a lifetime. Right? I have a few that are still in my life. It hurt. There's some lonely moments, man.
Wow. Well, I'd like to express on behalf of myself and the audience and the BIA production team our condolences to the loss of your mother and your grandmother. And
thank you.
What legacies have they instilled in you that you still carry on today?
My mother loved, she gave her life to Jesus. And she told me, I want you to come to heaven. And the legacy she left was that she would rather have Jesus than silver and gold. And no Kirk Franklin song, but
Mhm.
The legacy was that life. Really and truly, she wanted me just to give my heart to Jesus, and I think she really wanted me before she died to get the help. I know she lived with a lot of regret in her heart with that one.
Mhm.
She wanted me very unselfish. My grandmother too, both of them. Remember when my heart got broken, my grandmother told me there's going to be good, better, and there's going to be the best for you, son. Before she died, I remember that. So those
Wow.
words right there were so damn powerful, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you go to, when did you start noticing a positive difference in your life in regards to going to the therapist?
It was the first time I ever went because I was able to share everything. When you're able to open up, when you keep everything's bottled up inside, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're hiding in a cave, right? It's
Yep.
all inside too, and you're just like, it allowed me to open up my heart more, and some of that burden was lifted when I was able to share. Because when you're able to talk about things, it's gonna sound weird. I know some men might be like, "Yo, get out of here with that." You can get out of here with that, but it's factual evidence for myself that I was able to share and I was able to lift that burden. And that was the first time. The first time when I went to see my therapist after my mom passed was the first time I was able to open up and say, damn,
yeah,
this is going on for like 30 years, like forever. Like, wow. Like, wow, the doctor was right. I wish I followed what he said, but back then I didn't. So that was the first time. And going on from that, it was just therapy. I seen a lot of different therapists, but they helped me learn a lot about, mental health and different conditions I was living with. They opened up my mind in such a way that was so beautiful to the point where I'm like, it helped me break the stigma in my mind. There's a lot of stigma still going on, but my stigma was defeated when I started getting the help. Was being defeated. Now it's defeated because I don't believe, stigma is, judging someone based on an attribute such as having a mental health condition. There's a lot of stigma still in the Black community too. And I'm not going to knock the Black community because when we're fed crap from slave days, from when we're younger, it's going to stay there. You know what I'm saying? So the stigma needs to be broken. And I'm here to break the stigma with Heart of a Man. And I guess that's why when I wear the shirt too, I like when people ask me what that shirt's about because I get to tell them more and more.
Yeah, it's a conversation starter. It's an icebreaker.
Absolutely.
With the men that you've had to encounter along your journey, were there some common themes that they were going through or challenged by that they were looking to get some suggestions or your advice with?
Wait, so I'm going to ask you to repeat that last sentence.
No, just saying. No, I just got to remember the last question. It was so good, I forgot it. Okay,
the men in my life needed advice. You're asking me.
Yeah, the men in your life that you're helping through Heart of a Man. What are there common areas where they are experiencing depression or common things that they're challenged with that's making them experience depression, PTSD?
Some of the men that have come to the group in the past, yes, but some just really wanted to come just to listen and to share what they're going through. Doesn't have to be depression. Doesn't have to be PTSD.
Yep.
Sometimes it's a relationship issue, and I think I'm a relationship guru now. I'll say it loud and clear. I'm a relationship guru.
I'll test you offline. We'll do that.
Yeah, you can test me if you want, man. I'm gonna win that, man. But yeah, but Heart of it. Definitely I need to have, I haven't had it this month because of when you're working on yourself, you got to work on yourself. But men that come and they're able to talk in a group, we can open up. It's not going to be women listening to us or even really maybe even close friends that know us that might judge us. So we're able to open up and share with one another, each other's stories and just say, yo, man, I feel you on that. This is what's happening. I feel this way too. Wow. Let me know how you got better. It's like, and when you're asking questions and I facilitate the group, it's a beautiful thing because you hear different answers that you never thought you would hear.
Talk about the correlation. This is especially for men and those who love them that are watching this live on the replay. Talk about the relationship between a man knowing himself and depression.
Well, I could give you a quick example with a man knowing himself and depression. Well, depression is definitely something. If you know yourself, I feel if you really know yourself, you'll know if you're depressed too. But that's a tough question, actually, man.
Well, once in a while I come up with
that's a tough one right there, man. Like,
bring it up in your next group, or bring it up in your next group, or invite me to your next group and let me drop that one and see when we can spread it out and go deeper into that one, because I have a belief that there's a word, intimacy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and if you may know where this is coming from, but a lot of people think intimacy is with yourself and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But I regard intimacy as into-me-see.
Into-me-see. Oh, actually, that's good. Into-me-see. Okay.
So when we're chatting about this conversation topic of men and depression, I think that, just my thought, that the man knows the good and the not so good about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the road of preventing depression. Not saying it's not going to come up, but he's on that road. So that's why I brought that question up about, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, because you talked about mask, wearing the bravado and all that. And that, and the whole thing about ego, for me, ego is energy going out.
Okay.
So that's why, don't worry, I'm not auditioning to be part of your group, but I just wanted to bring up those conversation pieces, because I am blessed to help a lot of men.
Okay.
And I think that we're, I really appreciate what you're doing, because there is a void out there about men needing help.
Yeah, there is.
Right? Because the more help that one needs, the more they need help.
And the thing about what you just said, thanks for saying that too, because if you get to know yourself, you know who you truly are, you'll know when you need help. But if you don't know who you are, you're going to be lost and confused. Like, no, I don't need no help. But trust me, when you get to know your true self, and it took me about 30-something years to know my true self.
Hey, you're good. Some men never do.
That's true. You said that's it, and it's actually proven. Some men never do. You can't tell them that, though, because the ego, like you said, though.
No, I will tell them. It's whether they're going to listen. I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them. They're going to listen. No, because the thing is, I will tell a man, look, I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to help you.
Ooh,
and there's a difference.
Come on now.
Because sometimes help is hard, but it's good in the end.
It's a beautiful thing. Help is hard, but it's good.
Some help, not all help, but some help is, because it just, I'm getting too much in the conversation. I'm going to pull back. Now I jumped in, I'm going to jump back.
Because people want to hear you too. They want to hear what you're saying, man. This is good.
Look, if they wanted to hear from me, they'd ask to hear from me. They want to hear from you, right?
The vibe and heart of a man. That's why I'm talking about it. You get to talk.
But, and you just get to share. But, getting back to your story, your journey, and I appreciate you saying you're still in the fight. You're still in the fight. You're still in the battle.
Yeah. The battle's still, I learned how to cope with it. It's not going to just disappear one day until I die and go to heaven. Right? But I learned how to cope with it. Like, I know it's not just going to go like that. I've learned the skills how to just cope with my depression and deal with it, that now I can share with others that deal with it too.
In your journey, there was time, and it's, if you're open to chat about this, it's up to you, because I'm just steering the ship. You're driving the ship. You had mentioned about suicide.
Yeah.
How close during your journey did you come to committing suicide?
Well, when my mother passed, I remember I was like, I'm going in the basement. I'm thinking, I'm trying to plan like, okay, how can I do this to go to heaven with her? Because I thought if I just leave with her, I could get rid of this pain and go to heaven and have some fun with her, right? So I came really close to the point where I think God was like, oh, I know something's going on. I know what's going on in your mind. So I went in my basement to say, I'm going to take care of myself, not in a good way. And I remember my sister's boyfriend at the time ran downstairs and said, yo, Don, you okay? You okay? And he ran downstairs to talk to me. He said, yo, come upstairs, man. Let's go talk. So right there.
Well, what would have happened if he didn't run downstairs?
I think I would have done it, actually. I used to ask myself, that's a good question, man. It's a good question. Because, I mean, this question gets a lot of people uncomfortable, right? So, you know, I started to back away from this, but I can't. You know, this is real deal right here. I think I would have using the term out myself, you know, just I'll be gone. I think if you didn't come, give me another hour by myself, I would have done, because I couldn't. There was a lot of pain, man. A lot of us live with a lot of pain. A lot of brothers, a lot of, you know, women.
Well, I believe in higher power, and I believe that I have a feeling that your mother sent that gentleman downstairs.
I think so too. You know, even more than once, there's been so many things I've done where I'm like, yo, I can't take this anymore, man. I feel too broken. You know, I feel too lost. And people are like, yo, what are you talking about? And some people might not understand you if you don't go through that pain too, right? But that's okay. Some people might not understand. But she definitely said, go take care. You got to take care of him.
What impact has having a son in your life had on your depression, PTSD?
A tremendous impact. That actually keeps me alive. That's what keeps me alive now. See that picture right there? Oh. Yeah. Right there. Okay. So when I'm going through my tough times and my PTSD, my depression, I look at that picture sometimes, and I just called him before I went on the show because I've been feeling really heavy today. And, you know, just seeing him makes me realize I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to break him. I don't want him to live with this if his father decides, you know. Dad said, you know, I got to go. I'm going to take myself. I'm going to out myself. He really brings that hope and that inkling of that little.
He's your why.
Yeah. There you go. He's my why.
So before your son came in your life, what was your why? Or did you even have one?
No, my why was to go to clubs and just chill with girls. I wanted all the honeys.
So interesting conversation piece. Any of those women of the past are in your communication these days?
My son's mother.
Enough said.
That's it. Someone sent me a picture of my ex-wife. I got married when I was young too, because I wanted to just, that was my medicine too, right? I was like, dang, I haven't seen this woman in like 15 years. But yeah, nah, that's just her. That's it. And only that's it. I've had friends definitely that are still there, just straight friends though. But it was just a quick fix for me that I thought was going to heal all the pain. But nah, didn't heal all the pain, man. It's still there. It was still there after.
When you have a challenging day and you're not able to communicate with your son, how do you manage?
I manage from what the skills they taught me. Meditation. I like to meditate. I like to listen to gospel. Things that's going to uplift your heart. I listen to gospel songs. I go for walks. I got to go for a walk. Today I was looking outside and I'm like.
Yeah, it was like dreary outside, like a day.
Yeah, right?
Day and night. And it's interesting we're having this conversation because we're doing this broadcast live on October 27th. This weekend in our part of the world, the clocks go back.
That's it.
And it's going to get darker. And actually I was speaking with a father who I He works at a grocery store that I go to all the time. We've known each other for a long period of time. And he said, yeah, you know, he has to be at work at 6:30 in the morning and leave. And he leaves usually around 3:30, 4. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to be going to work in the dark and going home in the dark.
Yep.
So it's nothing just happens. There's a reason that conversation piece came up.
Yeah,
I had to mention that.
Straight up.
So,
said it.
So you have your son. All right. And do you have you have a circle?
I do. I have my therapist. I have to see. That's something too. That's a big thing.
So here's a question for you. For Black men, do you feel that they should have, first of all, Black therapists?
I think it's going to be a yes.
Okay. All right. And
yes,
that's a challenge in itself because there's not too many Black therapists.
There's not. And I would say that's definitely a burden because we need more Black therapists now to help us Black men that need it.
Culturally sensitive.
Absolutely. We definitely need that.
And then the second part then is Black men, if they're blessed enough to get a Black therapist, or if they get a therapist, should it be a man compared to a woman?
Whatever works for you. But I mean, man to man, sometimes it's easy to talk and just have that connection, right?
Right.
Woman to woman. But I mean, if you want to talk to a woman, if you feel more comfortable talking to a Black female therapist, then that's fine. Like, there's a great psychologist I know. She's amazing. She's a Black woman that you could talk to about anything. She just really gives you that insight, that hope, you know, just build your knowledge reservoirs. So yeah, but man to man sometimes, definitely.
How has 2020, because this has been a unique year for all of us, how has that impacted your PTSD and depression?
Look at my hair, man.
Look at my hair.
Look at my hair.
Look at mine.
I gotta use hair follicles to get my lineup going straight up. Okay, that's it right there. You look at my eyes, it means I haven't been sleeping a lot. That says a lot. I mean, what looks good on the outside sometimes is really heavy on the inside, though. It looks horrible on the inside, but with PTSD and depression, you can even see the stats of how it's increased so much since this pandemic. Because you have to stay inside. You have to stay inside. You have to stay isolated.
I'm not a medical expert, and I don't know if you are or not, but what are your thoughts on taking medication in regards to this type of health challenge?
Antidepressants?
Yeah.
They work. I will say that because I took them for a long time. I mean, if you're taking other medication, it could cause some impact with that. You know, that's sometimes you have to talk to your doctor, but that's a hit or miss. I mean, if you talk to your doctor and he says, yes, that's good, and it works for you, works for you. If it doesn't, there's other things like the therapist, you know, even diets, things like that, exercise. But antidepressants are very helpful. I believe so because I've taken them.
Okay. Okay. Do you have, if you have a challenge outside of your son, do you have a person that you can call up and share that with? Well, in fact, let me put this way. If you have a good day or a bad day, do you have an accountability partner or another person in your journey that you can share it with?
Yes, I do.
How important is that to your challenge emotionally?
It's incredibly important. Isolation, you said the word, though. Do you know a lot of people, you know, the suicide rates increase when you're isolated and you're by yourself, when you're alone, right?
Yep. And also, too, when it comes to men, people over 40, 80% of the suicides are men, and teenage suicide, 80% of the suicides are teenage boys.
But if you have a person to call, and you can, I have people I could call, one or two, right? they're going to be confidants. They're going to be in your life for a long time. That's what Bishop D.D. Jakes said. You're going to have people in your life for like a quick minute, but I have at least confidants. And if you have those confidants, you need to call them, talk to them. You know, that's what's going to help you cope with this too. Because if you could share with them and they're like, yo, I'm here for you just to listen. I'm not going to judge you, knock you, and say, hey, man, come on, man up, man up, man up. No, they can make you laugh. They can pray with you. They can chill with you. Things like that is beautiful. And I have that at least. God's blessed me with that. And he shows me that sometimes when I forget. Because there's times you feel alone in this season of isolation. But I'm blessed to have the confidence in my life.
Do you realize how much of a special gift that is in your life?
Absolutely. Well, now I do more than ever. Before, when I was young, I didn't care. I was like, whatever. Yeah, you know, I got my friends, whatever. But when you get older and you're coping with these battles with, you know, depression, and your mental health is not strong and you're living in this, you know, isolation, it's like it opens up your eyes to see, wow, I have this person I could call when I'm feeling like this. Damn, this is good. More gratitude comes in your heart, right? Self-reflection to realize, wow, I have this person. It's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing.
For people who are watching or listening to this live on replay, I really want especially men to hear this, because many men out there don't have that. Don't have that. And actually I had a very interesting experience the other day. I was updating my profile on LinkedIn, my personal profile, and all of a sudden a gentleman reached out to me from my high school, who we played on the same football team and rugby team together. Yeah. And he's reached out and said, hey, how you doing, etc. He said, hey, a bunch of us from the football days are getting together on us, was it 2 Sundays ago? Mm-hmm. And we're just going to hang out, share memories for an hour. I said, I'll see if I can make it. I'll be open here, because I can't send the word transparent. Open, simpler word. Went there with the intent of only spending an hour there. Well, check it out, family. 15 guys, 4.5 hours, just sharing memories in the parking lot. Some of the gentlemen drove. One guy drove from 2 hours away to make this event.
Wow.
I encourage men to do that, especially check out and see if you can get together with some of your high school buddies. It was an amazing event. Like, I mean, like, I'm never going to forget it. We already have the next one planned for springtime. But then the gentleman who did the whole organizing of it, what he did with all of us, he sent us pictures from our yearbook. So those are the special memories, man, you need to have. But I'll never forget it. Like, so there were gentlemen there that I have not seen for over 30 years.
See, right there, man. Dang.
So especially our black men, you need each other. And I'm telling you, that was phenomenal experience. Like, I mean, it again? I'm phenomenal.
You said phenomenal, and we need each other.
I found outstanding, not phenomenal, outstanding. So I encourage, for me anyways, and I'm chatting a little bit more about this because I'm very passionate about helping and serving men, that relationships are the foundation of everything you have, man. The foundation of everybody. I don't deal with connections. I deal with relationships.
Okay. Relationships, man. It's a beautiful thing too.
That will help you in your time when you're going like this, but especially when you're going down like that.
Up and down battles. That's when it is.
Right. So that, you know, I think it's very important. I mean, we're talking about depression, all that. And look, this year's been a challenging year. Also, men, have people in your life that will accept you where you are, not where they want you to be, accept you where you're at.
That's something that I had to learn. They have to accept you where you are, not where you want to be. Just accept you, no matter what you're going through.
Well, you got to accept you. You got to be your best friend. You're either going to be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Sometimes I'll tell you this though. When you have people accept you, it could really open doors for you to accept yourself too. Sometimes.
There you go. Yes. But but one word I hear a lot these days is self-care.
Yeah.
It's become a big word, self-care and mental health are the two hot button words I'm hearing these days. So what's been going on with Heart of the Man? What are you looking forward to doing with Heart of the Man? What's the next step of the journey?
Next step of the journey is to really close out this year with a bang. Well, this has been a complicated year. I want to sell my shirts so people can wear it and wear the brand and what it stands for out there.
Okay.
Please visit my website, get a shirt, go out there, listen to any speaking engagements I have, be a part of it. And when I do have my men's groups, come out, check it out, listen up. Join. Like
so I'm gonna challenge you. What's the one thing that you want to accomplish before the end of this year?
What's the one thing I want to accomplish?
Yep.
I want to create a positive impact in even one life. And
what does that look like?
There's a young man I'm actually helping right now, getting some help with a psychotherapist.
Okay.
Who's improving. That's what I want to accomplish, and see him improve and see him grow.
Okay, so I'm going to hold you to that.
All right. You'll see it, man.
All right. So
it's going to happen.
We've ended off this conversation. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. I've flapped my jaws a little bit more than I usually do, but people know a little bit about me. When manhood and fatherhood and boyhood is on the table, I jump into the pool. So I'd like to thank you, Donovan, for all you have done, all you have done, are doing, and will be doing. If people want to find out more information about Heart of a Man, how can they do that?
Go on the website, heartofaman.com. Sign up for my Instagram. Check out my blogs. Read what's been written. Social media is where it's at. That's where everyone lives now, especially during this COVID. And get a shirt. Get a shirt. Wear it and say, Heart of a Man, overcome, elevate, inspire.
All right. I would like to say thank you for watching another epic conversation. My name is Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of epic conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, I host conversations for dads and fathers that are sponsored by Dad Central and Dove Men Care. As I always see at the end of my conversation, actually, the best place to get a hold of me, just go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com. Everything Dr. Vibe there. All my epic conversations, posts, how you can contact me, etc., and upcoming friends on the platform. As always, I end off my conversations, my epic conversations like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. I'd like to thank BIA Media for their production of this epic conversation. And finally, remember to give yourself grace. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Goodbye, everybody.